Here with Mike with Tuesday Talks with Mike.
Good morning, folks. Comics are a very attractive medium. They seem so simple on their face. It's just words and pictures. They seem so simple that everybody wants to do a comic, and many people do, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a good comic. The essential question in all literature is, what happens next? And the reader has to care before he turns the page. Well, how do you make the reader care? There are an infinite number of ways, but I'm going to list the first three that come to mind. Number one, you create a character that's so fascinating in and of itself that readers find him, her, or it irresistible and are going to pick it up anyway. And the greatest example of this is Sherlock Holmes. Well over 150 years later than the last Sherlock Holmes story was published, the character is more popular than ever. There are dozens of Sherlock Holmes novels published every year. In fact, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has written 3 Sherlock Holmes novels. All right, that's cheating a little. They're actually about Mycroft, Sherlock's smarter older brother, but Sherlock's in them. The second way you do it is by creating a fascinating situation. And there's no better example than Jurassic Park. People love dinosaurs, and they love watching stories about dinosaurs, especially dinosaurs interacting with human beings, which, as we know, is impossible, and yet there they are. Actually, it may not be impossible since the Jurassic Park books are based on novels by Michael Crichton, who was a physician and made sure that his facts were straight and that his premises were rooted in the truth. The third way is with a seductive narrative voice. Now, this is more applicable to novels than it is to comics, but it's applicable to novels, to comics as well, as those who enjoy the work of Frank Miller or Alan Moore will attest. They're fun writers. And one of the reasons they're fun writers is because they don't repeat cliches. You got to be aware of cliches. If you ever find yourself writing, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore, or move it people, or we have to talk, back away from the keyboard and think about it. You can say those sentiments, but you've got to find fresh words, especially we're not in Kansas anymore. How often have you all seen that in a comic? Too often. When I started writing comics, I wrote them by drawing each page out by hand. And I did that for 20 years. I would recommend this to anyone who wants to do a comic, even if you can't draw at all, because it teaches you so many valuable lessons. One, it teaches you how much weight a page can bear. And by that, I mean, when you're actually drawing the scene, you understand that talking heads don't take up much space. Therefore, you could have more panels of talking heads on a page than you can of an explosion or a monster or a scene of an ancient civilization. But if you do, what they say has to be interesting. We've all seen comics, especially lately, where you open it up to a page which has one huge head and 13 word balloons with about 500 words in them. And the moment you see that, your eyes gloss over and you think, oh no, this looks like work. Comics are supposed to be fun. When I see a page like that, I always think of Soviet architecture for these massive blocks of apartments, gray, featureless, dull, boring apartments that the Soviets build for the proletariat. And you don't want to do that. You want to make every word count. Comics are a visual medium. Some people like wordless comics. I don't. They're not very popular. You can read them in 5 minutes and then you forget them. The pictures may be beautiful, but it's the words that you add to the pictures that make it resonate. And the proof of that is the terms that we repeat today. Face front true believers, it's clobbering time. I'm not locked up in here with you, you're locked up in here with me. That's Rorschach in The Watchmen by Alan Moore. It's an unforgettable line, and we all remember it. It also forces you to think about what happens next. which is the most important question in all of literature. When you're inching along on your page, you think, well, comics are a visual medium, I should have a double-page splash here. I have to tell you that most double-page splashes are a waste of space. They're just not that interesting. And the problem with a full-page splash or a double-page splash is that the action stops right there while you're supposed to admire the art, but often the art isn't very good, so you don't admire the art. And it stops the action dead. I hardly ever devote a page to a single image. I will do that on a splash page if I have an interesting scene. But in the book, if I come to a big reveal, like the werewolf or something, I'll devote the top 2/3 of the page to the image, and then the bottom third will contain another panel or possibly two, so that the story continues and you're tempted to turn the page. These are a few of the hard-won lessons that I have learned about writing comics over the years. I no longer draw each page out by hand, but when an artist doesn't quite get the image, I will draw it out for him. And it's helpful to have some rudimentary artistic skills. My skills are rudimentary, but they are good enough so that anybody can see at a glance what I'm trying to get at. Now, you writers who say, well, I just can't do that, I can't draw at all. Well, you can draw stick figures, and you should draw stick figures. And one more caveat, if you've seen one explosion, you've seen them all. Don't waste a full page on an explosion. If it's a really big explosion, you may have half a page. That's it. Thank you for listening.
All right, so we're going to get back on the bandwagon of doing weekly videos. I think we're looking at, what is that, Mike?
This is approval. This is
approval.
the V for victory, and this is the thumbs up.
Oh, okay, thanks. So we're going to call it Tuesday Talks with Mike. So stay tuned on Tuesday. I don't know if they're going to be in the morning, probably, but anyway, there will be short videos about writing tips, character, story development, etc. Are there some new projects in the horizon we should know about, Mike?
You know, there have been no public announcements yet, but I've written a graphic horror novel based on the plush toy Scruffy Bumps. Look it up. Just Google Scruffy Bumps. And it's part of a wave of comics that are about to appear about animal abuse. It's PG-13. It's not too horrible for kids, but it should be for older kids.
Right. And you have a current Indiegogo Kickstarter on Bronze Stars still going?
Yes, by all means. This is the greatest work of Pat Broderick's career, and if you know Pat's work, you understand why, especially if you look at the art. So go look at the art at bronzestarcomic.com and scroll down till you come to that black and white page. That's the reason we're offering an oversized black and white artist's edition. bronzestarcomic.com.
And you have a Substack too.
I do have a Substack, mikebaron.substack.com, where I rave about stuff like this and whatever crosses my mind. My latest column is about soul music.
Okay, great. If you enjoy this content, please subscribe, ring that bell, you know what to do. So thanks for listening. Bye-bye.